So this is my other project. This will be this spring. Also, while we were buying the mesquite, they had a huge stack of aromatic cedar. And that's actually a project I've been collecting wood for. I've been buying pieces of aromatic cedar from Woodcraft for, a few months. I've got quite a few already. But here's the deal. We walked up, they had a pallet of this stuff. Each one of these boards is $3 a board. I was paying about $15 for a board. Now, with that said, all of these have got regular, real cedar stuff. The ones I got from Woodcraft were perfectly dimensioned. But I don't mind actual growth defects. So there's that. Anyway, what this project is going to be, hopefully in the spring. Last table I made took me 6 months, and I've got 2 little tables here I've got to make. I know it looks like 3 pieces, but those 2 are going to be joined butt end together. But I've got 2 little tables to make for my office. Hopefully I can knock that out a lot sooner than 6 months. But anyway, starting this spring, there's a little project that I've had in my mind to do for quite a while, and that is to make a blanket box at the end of my wife and I's bed. So essentially about 18 inches tall, 24 inches wide, and 4 foot long, lined with aromatic cedar. And so I've been collecting those. And so essentially it's going to be that big old box, right? So 48 by 24 by 18. And then the corners and the apron and the top are all going to be walnut and purple heart. So purple heart on the stiles. I'm going to try to actually do some carving with that. And walnut around for an apron and legs, and for the top. Should be very pretty with this beautiful cedar showing through. So this will actually show through like the middle of the box. You'll have to see it. I've had it in my head for a while. But anyway, absolutely gorgeous. I have to say, the stuff I bought from Woodcraft, this stuff for $3 a board is magnificent. My daughter bought some. I've got to make her some shelves, so I've got to do that. I also need to saran wrap these all up because cedar is very prone to twisting and warping, and so I want to try to save them. I bought some smaller ones for just some smaller pieces if I need them, and again, some of them are just absolutely stunning. So some very beautiful wood. Some of them are loose, but just the figuring on this is going to be good, and make a beautiful, just doing a little short video on some stages on this table. So this is going to be a little corner table that I'm going to make out of some mesquite. We picked up some mesquite when we were in New Mexico. Has some beautiful figure in it. And so I'm going to make a little corner table out of these. They're book matched. There's the other figure there. But the first thing I got to do is get this bark off. So really that's kind of what this video is about. Real short video about just getting the bark off. With some mesquite, most of it just pulls off. But I figured I would talk about kind of using some rasps and stuff to get the rest of it off, because you can pull some of it off, but I want it to be kind of pretty like this. Usually what you want to get your bark completely off, because it doesn't really normally stay on anyway on your wood projects, so you want to try to get that bark completely off. So basically that's it. Just kind of using the rasps and just the little round sand paper and stuff to just kind of get this down to where I want it, and then it should be pretty good. You can every good tool shop should have some good rasps. You don't have to go you know, the woodpeckers or woodcraft and spend $500 on the rasps. These are just cheapy little Harbor Freights. You know, you kind of need the three. You got one that's rounded on the top and a little bit concave on the bottom. You got a round one here, and then you have your regular flat one. You can also use, a lot of folks don't realize this, but you can also use metal files on wood just fine too. So I always keep that around. And essentially, I'm just using this little keyhole thing just to kind of get an abrasive grab on some of that wood. You know, as I peel it off, I'm not really cutting anything. I'm just using the teeth to kind of grab better than my fingers can. So that's pretty much it. Yep, just trying to get these all edged off, and then I've got the other one over there too. So. And lastly, I am trying to clean up my desk. Boy, it got piled up and cluttered up with all the boxes, 20 boxes I did for Christmas. So still working on trying to get that cleaned up, try to get this all organized underneath here. And I've got to get that installed one of these days. And I got another little screw thing I can put up over here, start putting some screws in. So anyway, a lot of work there. But big kicker is getting the bark off the wood, tossing it on the floor to be swept up later, and that way your natural edge can still shine through, but you don't have the insect collecting, you know, rot inducing type of bark on your wood. There you go. So this is my little corner table that I'm going to do. Essentially, we got two little pieces of mesquite that are really pretty. They got some beautiful figure in them. Looks really nice. Some pretty figure. Some what they call crotch figure, right? So that little curlicue right through there. Got some beautiful pieces of cedar with some of my more fancier wood as a border. Really need to joint this piece here, and probably need to joint all of these. So I guess I'll dig that out and get the joiner set up and get those all jointed. But anyway, that's what it's going to look like when I get done. It's going to be a little corner table, and it is pretty. So it will be. It's going to go in my office, and I'll stack lots of crap on it. So this is the first time I'm really going to be using a biscuit joiner. If you all don't know what a biscuit joiner is, essentially it's a tool that helps keep your pieces of wood, if you join them together, and I'm going to join all three of these together. If you join them together, it helps keep them flat, if that makes sense. Now you can use pegs, you can use mortise and tendons. There's a million different ways to do that, but this is kind of a nice little way. It uses these little things here called biscuits, and so essentially what that will do is that'll make a slot in the boards, and then we'll put this in there. Gives it a little bit more surface area, but it also keeps the pieces from, you know, warping as much as it can. Especially where the joints are at. So that'll be like inside the boards like that. I am going to do, I could just do one in the middle and one in the middle, but I'm actually going to go ahead and do 4 so that I have one on each spot right through there. So essentially that's it. The key thing, of course, here is you got to make sure you get your marks where you want them. So really that's kind of what I did here. I went ahead and marked the center, and then I marked the center, or basically cut this into 3 pieces so that I could put one there, there, and there. And I did kind of look at this little table to see, you know, kind of eyeballed. So basically what I did is I took the square piece, made sure I got my dimensions right, and went ahead and marked those with the square, and got the dimensions right, and then I moved these pieces, the ears, if you want, move them to where I wanted them, made a corresponding mark on those, and then squared them up. There is a spot on the tool, a little red line you can see right there, and another spot on this fence that will fold down here. You can see the fence up top, but it's actually sitting up at the moment. But anyway, those will line up with those lines as I cut them, and then once I get them all cut, there'll be 4 cuts. Then essentially I can glue them all together. Now you do kind of see a ridge right there between those 2 pieces, but that's really just because this table's got globs and bumps and stuff on it. So I'll make sure that I have a nice smooth place. I may actually do it over there just to make sure I have a nice smooth place and I can get a uniform cut on all 4, and then that'll actually should pull that back down so that there's probably just something underneath of it or something there, so you can actually kind of see there's a gap there. So anyway, hoping to do that. Then if I can get these all glued up today and we'll let them sit, and then maybe this weekend finish up sanding them. And I'm hoping next week I can do some tabletop pours on that and on this, and then set them aside and start building the bases. So sounds like fun. How much storage I have on my phone, but I'll go ahead and do this. This is the other mesquite that I bought when we went to New Mexico a few months back. We paid, I think, $25 for those 2 pieces of mesquite. Very highly figured and pretty. So that's the mesquite. So anyway, they did have some voids in them, so I filled them full of turquoise. This is the corner table for my office mesquite table. That if you can go look at some other pictures I have. But anyway, filled in some of the voids with turquoise. Had a really brutal time trying to get this top coat pour onto this. The very first time that so when I did the little foyer table that's in my office, I put a seal coat on it. For whatever reason, I didn't think about putting a seal coat on this one, which reminds me I need to put a seal coat on the edges here. But so unfortunately, I came up, I put a seal coat of epoxy on. I guess what I mean is I didn't put sanding sealer on. I put sanding sealer on the other one, didn't do it on this one. Anyway, so had a great first pour on this. The tabletop pour was perfect, but ended up with a pinhole bubble there that ruined the whole thing. So I had to sand that all down, sand all the rest of it down. Did another pour that, for whatever reason, set up like in like minutes, and before I could even get it to smooth out. So I had to sand it down, and then this was the 3rd try on this little tiny table, and I think I got it pretty good. There's a couple of little dust motes and stuff on it, but for the most part, the top coat's looking pretty good. It'll be a pretty little corner table. I got cedar in the middle, so there's cedar. Like I said, mesquite on the side, beautiful figured mesquite. I'll show you that right there in the crotch. Some beautiful figure coming through. This cedar was highly figured, which was really weird in cedar. But anyway, so got the cedar in there. A lot of figuring right there. Just a ton of figuring right there in that corner. So that was a really pretty piece. I cut it in half to kind of square that up. Got a border of walnut and padauk, and oh geez, I don't know, ash I think is in here. I think I've got some pecan in here too. I will say, because I had to do so many coats, if you look really close, it's kind of hazy in a couple of spots that I'm not happy about, but that's honestly because the coat of epoxy on this is so thick, it's ridiculous. Already got things landing on it, so that's always good. But the turquoise came out really pretty. So this will just be a little corner table, sit in my office. I'll have my phone on it. I'll have a couple other things on it. Hopefully just a little corner table. The bottom of it is done. Put white pine on the bottom to be underneath that fancy dancy wood. And so anyway, last thing I've got to really do here is I'm actually going to put the legs on it. I'm going to try to get that done today, get the legs on it, and then I'm going to touch up these sides with some wipe-on poly, and then that should really finish her off. I'll just keep going at it with the wipe-on poly all during the week, and I'll just have it sitting up in my office, and I'll do that every few days and few hours. I've got to do that to the other table too, because there's some stuff on there that I need to, or there's some, I got to get a little bit smoother and brighter too. But anyway, that is it. Pretty little thing. Hopefully will be very nice. I'm going to try to get those legs on it here in a minute, and try not to scratch the top. All right, there you go. Pretty little mesquite corner table with cedar inserts. Very nice. Look at all that curl in there. That was a weird piece of cedar, but very pretty. Turquoise epoxy in the cracks. Beautiful crotch figure. These are actually two book-ended cuts actually off the same piece of wood. I filled the epoxy in here because this actually had quite a bit of voids down underneath here, while this one didn't. So this one just had the little notch, but the branches were coming through on this side. There's actually three of them, 1, 2, and 3. And so I had to fill in the bottom. So put a little bit of epoxy in there. So that turquoise come out really nice. Very nice. Cracks right there. They're nice. Who'd have thought mesquite was pretty, huh? most of us use it for flavoring burgers. Very nice. Beautiful, beautiful figure right there. Yep. All right. I'm going to put it in the office and slap a telephone on it.